What's going on, everybody? We're back with another episode of Topshot Shot Clock. My name is Chris Heller, presented by Topshot today, and my guest is Noah Pires from NBA Topshotas. What's up, Noah? How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm having an excellent day so far. It's about to get better because I'm excited that we're doing this. We finally get to meet after a little back and forth on the social world. Where are you calling us from today, first and foremost, so we can set the scene here?
I'm in Cape Cod in Massachusetts. I'm not sure if you can tell by my skin tone being very red right now, but that is thanks to the sun out here. I don't mind it because the winter's a little bit depressing. So I'll take sunburn over like seasonal happiness any day of the week.
All right, fellow Northeastern guy. Even though I'm not there now, I do miss my home turf, being a New Yorker. And as far as Top Shot goes, what is your role in the community? What's your contribution to the content space? Give people a quick background.
Yeah, so I'm not going to lie. Pretty recently, I've slacked off a little bit on the videos, kind of like lost a little interest, but mostly what I'll post is I was doing mostly like daily videos, just talking about NBA more so than like the crypto world and like buying the floor and like different strategies, because I just come from a perspective of being an NBA fan. I was never a card collector, but just like enjoying the sport and like looking for underrated moments and underrated players on the platform and trying to help clue in those who may have jumped in because they heard they can make money but don't really know who to look for. So guys like Miles Bridges, I was pretty high on because he has cool moments. And, LaMelo Ball, obviously everybody knows him, but, two Hornets guys getting an early shout out, but just stuff like that, talking about actual basketball rather than like doing super deep dives, just because that's what interests me.
And is NBA Top Shot is that just your brand, or is that a group of content creators?
It was a conglomerate for a little bit with my cousin. And then we had like scheduling, not issues, but it just didn't like end up working out too well. Like just matching up our schedules. So I just started doing solo videos by myself. But yeah, it's mostly solo stuff unless we get packs, and then we bring people onto the channel, open packs, and get our hearts ripped out, which is always very fun.
I have noticed some negative sentiment on your videos lately about the Top Shot marketplace, which we'll talk about in a minute. Are you familiar with the Top Shot shot clock structure?
I am very familiar. I cannot wait to get buzzed 24 straight times.
All right, let's do it. If I'm ready, if you're ready, I'm ready.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go. "24 seconds on the clock. Question 1. Speaking of some of these videos you've been putting out, is Top Shot dead, for example? So let's just attack it right away. How does NBA Top Shot fail?
I think it fails if a lot of people say like upper management. I don't really know how that works. I would just say if they oversaturate the market with a lot of moments that don't have any meaning, and they just keep throwing these worthless, in my opinion, 50,000 population moments. I know they want people to get in on like a cheap price floor, but I think the draw into this is like having cool moments and having like garbage layups and like bounce pass assists. I'm not sure if that's going to end up helping in the long run.
And that is something that you could argue that they're already doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's a moment in NBA history that you think needs to be on Top Shot?
For whatever reason, I was a big Tayshaun Prince fan, and when he chased down blocked Reggie Miller, I mean, like, I don't know how much it would go for. Hopefully not a lot. I would get in if the prices are what they are now, and I would just buy a few of those. But I also think like the LeBron block on Iguodala would be pretty cool too. I feel like that would be like wildly expensive though.
I love the randomness of the Tayshaun Prince moment. Yeah, that's a great call. He was just so long and lanky, and was great at those chasing from behind. When you were a little kid growing up in Connecticut, what did you want to be when you grew up?
It might sound wild. I wanted to be a garbage man because I always thought it was real cool to hang off the back of a moving truck and just like throw things around all day. And then I grew up a little bit. I'm like, maybe I want to be a basketball player. And neither one has come to fruition, but I haven't lost hope on either front.
Right. We still got time. Patience. Speaking of UConn, who's the best UConn point guard to ever play at UConn?
At UConn, I could put like AJ Price out of there, but I have to say Kemba. I feel like Kemba was wildly awesome there. Watching his like step back versus Pitt was crazy. I went to UConn, and once I got there, the team was just awful. So it was kind of heartbreaking for me, but I only wanted to really go there because I was from Connecticut 1 and 2, because their team was always so fun to watch, and watching guys like Jeff Adrian and like Stanley Johnson and those guys, it was just like, it seemed like such a good time. And then I got there and it wasn't such a great time, but made the most of it.
The peaks and valleys of college hoops, unless you're at one of the real powerhouses that never ever fail. But the point guard lineage there, I thought was interesting. Like they had always great college players who necessarily didn't materialize, like the Khalid El Amin or Napier, that just made great runs in the tournament.
Even like Ryan Boatwright. I don't know where he's at right now, but he was cooking in college.
So all things being equal, do you prefer a jersey number or a serial number 1?
Both are out of my price range, but I would say probably a jersey number. I don't know why. I just feel like there's more connection to the player there. Number 1's obviously always cool, but at the same time, like it was probably minted like 17 seconds before number 2. It doesn't really matter too much. And I think, having that jersey number gives you more of a connection to a player. But at the same time, guys like Jason Tatum don't have a jersey number match because of number 0. Right. So for those, you kind of got to go for number 1.
Good point. What is your favorite NFT project outside of Topshot? If Topshot's even your favorite anymore.
I'm not that pessimistic. Honestly, I'm not really into too much NFT stuff. I got into Topshot because I was a basketball fan, and I really don't follow too much of the other things. One, because like I'm pretty sure the floor on CryptoPunk's like 70 grand, and the other things I just don't understand. So I have to have Topshot as my number 1, but I don't hate it as much as I lead on.
That's good to know. If you could work for any person in the world, who would it be, and what job would you want to have?
Ideally, it would be to like work for myself, I guess, like just making my own schedule and just living how I want to live and stuff like that. And I like making videos, and I like trying to make people laugh. So maybe like some comedy route. Some people told me I could do stand-up, but I feel like I'm not extroverted enough to go up on a stage and do some crazy like sets and stuff like that. But maybe if I come out of my shell, you might see me on a stage bomb a few times, but then eventually get to it.
It is something that I've never done, but it's something I respect wholeheartedly. And many people along my life's path have said, like, it's something that everyone should try at some point. Just like getting on stage and being in that moment, trying to make people laugh is just a pretty tough spot to be.
Yeah, that's my goal by the end of this summer is find a comedy club, go up there and just let it rip. And if nobody laughs, then I'll know that's not my path in life.
Awesome. Well, that's not necessarily true. You can bomb the first time and then, work on your craft if that's something you really want. Let's say you're in charge of Topshot for the day. What's the first thing that you're changing?
I would just say like a better curation process for moments. I know on Twitter all the time, there's always like the NBA Topshot this, and they always put out really cool ones. But then when the moments actually roll out, there's not much of a relationship between what they put on Twitter and what's actually minted. And I'm not sure if that has to do with like the NBA rights or whatever, but I just think less moments being released, so there's a little bit more scarcity, and the moments being released having some sentimental value as well.
Yeah, I always wonder that because I think the NBA is actually if I read this correctly, the NBA are actually the ones who are choosing the moments. And I wonder how in tune they are with Topshot Twitter about like NBA Topshot this. I wonder what the connection is there. What's something that you're great at?
Ooh, I guess like entertaining something, maybe like making videos. I don't want to like sound conceited, but I feel like I do a good job of like intertwining humor and entertainment and information value, whether it's through Topshot stuff or through fantasy football, just like not taking myself too seriously in any walk of life. And I feel like for me personally, that's helped me get to where I am today, whether it's professionally in a not professional manner or just like doing stuff like this, just being able to connect to people by not being so like uptight all the time.
It's confidence, not conceit, and it's a trait that people who get in front of cameras actually need to flourish. I believe. What's a piece of advice that you've heard once upon a time that really sticks with you?
I guess like live life with no regrets. Just always go fully into something. If you really like believe in something, go fully into it. Like last year, I could have went for like an internship or whatever, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna pursue this video stuff. Maybe like some people may say I should have pursued an internship even afterwards, but I'm happy with the decisions I've made. And as long as you can like rationalize why you did what you did, and if you're happy doing it, then I see no issue in just taking your own path.
For sure. What will cause the next Topshot market boom, if there is one?
Man, well, I hope there is one.
Me too.
I think the run it back promo, if they do it correctly, could be huge. I know this is between 05 and 2010. If they do some like Shaq on the Suns or like on the Celtics moment and they have like AI on the Pistons, it could be a wrap. But I'm gonna be optimistic. I think if they get some actual cool moments in there and they spread the love with the other like not headlining name guys, that could be really cool as well.
It's funny you say that because like when that announcement came out, I remember I think I wrote on Twitter. I like did some sleuth investigating, and I was like, I think it has to be. I think it was '05 because Shaq was on the Heat, which I'll accept. But like, and AI was still on the Sixers, and McGrady was on the Rockets, I believe. Like that was the only year where it was like you wouldn't have that reaction of like, oh, really? Like I'm not that into it. Yeah.
I feel like they made it like '05 to 2010 to kind of put in the back of our brain, like, oh, what if they do like 2009 and nobody wants these guys like T-Max on the Spurs with a broken back, like nobody wants that moment. But if they do like '05 or '06, I think it could work out like very well.
What would you eat for your last meal?
I don't know. I'm not trying to dine an empty stomach. So let's see. Maybe like some pizza, maybe some steak. I haven't thought about that. Hopefully I'm not going to be put in that position. So I haven't really put too much thought into it, but probably pizza. It's real versatile. Just put whatever I want on it. And it's multiple meals in one.
Load it all up. What's your review of J. Cole's latest album?
That's a tough one. There was only like a few tracks I liked on there. I'm a big J. Cole fan. I like his older stuff more than his more recent stuff, like KOD. I wasn't a fan of. I liked For Your Eyes Only, but I think this last one he was trying to prove that he could like do any style and like mimic any style. And there's only like a few songs that like I liked the sound of them, if that makes sense. I just feel like he tried to show that he was still in the game when he didn't have to show he was still in the game. He could have just been himself.
All right, nice. What's a Top Shot regret that you have? Something you could have done differently?
I think mid-January, I got in heavy on rookies, and I'm like, oh, like rookie cards in the card world are pretty popular, and I bought them. And then I think there was like, it was very slow, and they weren't really going up too high. I bought like a Rui Hachimura for like $90. He got up to like 95. I'm like, let's cash out. That's good money. And literally 2 weeks later, like everybody was like, I don't know how much he was, like $600, $700. I do regret that. I just said not too long ago, don't live life with regrets, but I wholeheartedly regret those decisions I made.
You did say that. And that brings me to a question follow-up. What is a real life regret that you do have? Even though you try to live life without, there's got, when looking back, what is something you're like, if I did that differently, assuming it doesn't change the whole course of everything.
Yeah, where do you want me to start? There's quite a few. I think to keep it like lighthearted, just like not telling people how much like I appreciated them while they were still around, stuff like that. Just like letting people know how much they meant to me while I still had the chance to do so, I think is like a big regret that I have.
Yeah, and probably one that most people have or should have. What is a book that you think everyone should read?
Not many to choose from for me. I do like To Kill a Mockingbird. I remember reading that in like high school. I'm like, okay, I won't spark note this one. This one sounds pretty good. And I read it. I honestly don't remember too much about it, but I don't have much to choose from. So I'm going to go with that one. But I remember reading it and like being a very big fan of it and like the character development and stuff like that. So I guess if you're in like 9th grade English right now, go for it because it's actually a pretty decent book.
That was one that I had to read, and I forget what grade it was, but I'm much more of a reader later in life than I was back then. And that was one that I was actually I was scared of my teacher, Mrs. Donovan. And like I actually read that book start to finish because of the fear, like what if I didn't have the answer and she called on me type of thing. So that was a good one. And I wish I read more back then, but that one does.
I think we experienced the same life because I remember before I read that one, we had a book and we had like a test on it. I think I pulled a 47. I'm like, okay, I got to strap in big time now.
Nice. Who is a content creator in the Top Shot world that you can't miss? Like you really want to consume all of their content?
I like Jen Topshot. She does like the weekly reviews on like the market and stuff like that. I think it's just easy, quick, consumable content that if you don't have a lot of time to spend on the market, you can just go there and see, what the floor is, like what people are buying things for, like whether it's a rare, common, legendary. Because a lot of the time, like me personally as well, very recently, I haven't been too into it. So just catching up on the market through there would definitely help like any newcomer or like anybody alike to learn about Topshot.
Yeah, I think it's a tough time for content creators right now with the way the market is just kind of in this lull or funk. There's like not that many interesting things to talk about, which I've noticed a lot lately. And you met Jennifer Sudo, who was actually one of the first guests on Top Shot Shot Clock. So you can check out her episode on our YouTube page. If you could give a TED Talk on any one topic, what would it be?
Probably something to do with like health and fitness and like the mental health that comes along with being fit, I guess, and just like being active. You don't have to be like the most athletic person in the world, just like getting out and doing something, and like the positives that come of that, because I know in my life, like I made decisions to be more healthy, and it definitely positively impacted me. So it's not like an unknown topic, obviously, but I think that would definitely be helpful to like spread awareness about it.
Who comes to mind when you hear the word successful?
Probably Jeff Bezos. That guy's worth way too much money. I'm gonna ask him for a few dollars, but him, or just like anybody in life really who does something that they enjoy and like can live off of it and are happy doing it. Like you don't have to be a millionaire to be successful in my eyes. Like I feel like what I've done to this point, like I'm relatively successful for like what I've set out to do.
Right. Everyone measures on it differently. We should be measuring success by happiness way more than a bank account.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're in charge of the Celtics this offseason. You're a Celtics fan. What's the biggest move that you make to turn this thing around?
Is Danny Ainge out of the question? Because if he's not yet, then he will be.
I think he's very, very much in play.
Okay. Danny Ainge is gone. Brad Stevens is gone. Evan Fournier.
Brad Stevens is gone as well. I think that seems like a bigger bomb, I think, than Ainge.
Yeah, everybody's got to go. Even like Kemba, I like him. He went to UConn. I was so happy when he became a Celtic. I feel like he doesn't fit the mold of the team where they have these two young scorers who can score off the dribble, and then they have a point guard who also wants to score. I think more of a facilitating one would definitely help the squad.
All right, Ainge and Stevens out the door. Interesting. In your stand-up comedian quest, like who's your favorite? Who's your go-to guy when it comes to stand-up comedy, or girl?
I always liked Bill Burr. I liked his like style of comedy, just like very, I guess, illusion based. Like he goes back to like what he experienced in his life, and he kind of like turns them into like funny jokes and stuff like that. I always find that's, the best. I also like Kevin Hart was always good. And I remember a class in college, we had to like watch older stuff, and like Dave Chappelle was always just like hilarious too.
If you had to move out of North America permanently, where would you want to live?
The only place I've been outside of North America is Portugal. That's where my family's from. And I like it enough to be able to like live there, but I also wouldn't mind being like Australia and England, so I don't have to learn a different language, even though probably Australia because the weather's good and I can just speak English over there.
Totally. Australia's got great PR. So there's so many people that haven't been there that are like that answer something Australia in a question like this all the time.
I got family over there and they said kangaroos are like squirrels. So if I can just like mess up a kangaroo, just like walk down the street, not mess up, that's not like a good way to say it, but just like see.
So there will be no animal cruelty tolerated on this show.
That's not what I meant.
Let's say you have $10,000 to buy one moment right now. What are you buying?
I'd probably buy like 3 Zion Williamson rookie moments. I think Zion is just like it's used all the time, a generational talent, but I think that's exactly what he is. He already has like his first signature shoe after 1 year in the league, and he's making the smallest market in the league like a must-watch type of team. So I think he's probably like a top 5 most recognizable name in the world when it comes to basketball right now. So I think that's a good investment to make.
All right, here we are. We're at question number 24. Flies by, right?
It does. It's 1:24 when we're recording this too. So there's like so much serendipity going on.
In 24 seconds or less, how would you give someone the bullish case right now? How would you convince someone to get into Topshot right now?
Okay, this might be a video idea in the future, but I think just talking about how it's still in beta and how we've seen the ebbs and flows as you would see in like any market, but people are still very into it. Like you should be bullish because people are still bullish through the ups and downs, and just like the technology and how revolutionary it is to have like dynamic cards, I guess, like physical cards, but like dynamic online that you can trade and like buy all over the world. And it's very accessible. So I think that's how I would pose it.
I hope everyone's listening, the tens of millions of people who will see this. I hope just a few of them get in and get this market booming once again. Thank you, Noah, very much. Where can people check out your almost used to be daily, but somewhat less videos?
On NBA Topshot is on YouTube. You can check it out there. Listen, the videos aren't too consistent right now, but we will prevail. They will be coming back with a vengeance sometime soon, but you can check it out there. And also like on Twitter, I put out some like dumb tweets a lot. So if you want to be not entertained by that, you can follow me on Twitter as well.
We will have it on screen, but please just let people know your Twitter handle.
Yeah, it's FBGAWD. The biggest mistake I made in my life was calling it that, and I'm not gonna say what it is, but that's where I'm at with it.
And I would like to clarify, and again, this will be on screen. That is Topshot is with an S at the end, because there also is another faction out in the Topshot space. Topshot is with a Z, and we are actually having one of them join us on Topshot Shot Clock very soon as well. So I just want to
My
clarify.
bad. I'm not trying to step on any toes. I didn't know that.
Hey, we learned something new here on Top Shot Shot Clock. So Noah, thank you very much for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time.
All right, so did we. We'll see you all next time. Thanks for joining us, Noah and myself. We'll see you next time on Top Shot Shot Clock. Thanks.